listening to the Scoop Slam Podcast.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the Scoop Slam Podcast. We are back. Another week of wrestling to talk about. Not a whole lot to talk about, but we got a couple things. And we've got the continuation of our WrestleMania madness to break down the round of 16 now, Sweet 16. So we got to break that down today. We're going to switch it up. We're going to have fun. Tight, short episode. But as always, on the other end of the call, the historian of the Scoop Slam Podcast, and he's going to take the reins for just a little bit today. It's Ryan.
Yo, Micah, I got my 2x4 wrapped in nails, ready to scoop it, slam it. How the heck are you today, buddy?
Well, it's been a day, it's been a week, but needless to say, you know, we can't rely on the wrestling to get us through this week because I keep getting let down. The build to WrestleMania is puzzling at best.
Yeah.
And we'll talk a little bit about that, but you know, typically this is like the most amped time of the year, and coming out of Elimination Chamber, I was like, man, I was ready to go. I would have ran through a wall, and now it's like, I don't know.
You know, I think it was either yesterday or today. I saw a post online that 1 year ago today, WWE was in Chicago and Rock had that incident in the rain with Cody Rhodes. You know, look at you now. This is for you, Mama Rhodes. And on that same show, we had Punk and Drew in that promo battle back and forth where CM Punk asked Drew, who chose you? Who chose you as the chosen one?
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, dang, man, we haven't got that type of episode yet for this road to WrestleMania. It just makes me sad, Micah. Makes me sad.
And I remember they had the episode, I think, right before Mania, and I remember that being like crazy good, but I just, like you said, I ain't had any good bait put out there for me to really bite onto, because anytime I think I've got something, I don't know.
And you know what? The ticket sales prove that, because I believe they're like 10,000 seats short of selling out both nights. Tickets aren't really moving like that. Yeah.
Because, I mean, the prices are absolutely high as giraffe nuts, but I mean, people have been paying that all year to go to shows. Well, yeah, they are high.
I don't think I've ever heard that one. Okay.
You never heard that?
I haven't heard that one.
Yeah, well, now you apply that to life as everything else gets higher. But before we get to the full weekly breakdown leading up to WrestleMania, if you didn't listen last week, we started the WrestleMania Madness bracket. We took 32 of the top WrestleManias, ranked them, put them head to head, and so now the winners have advanced to the Sweet 16, and we are going to break that down today. But Ryan had an idea over the past week to swap it up. So I'm going to pick the Sweet 16 winners, and Ryan is going to lead us off through the bracket.
Yeah, Micah, first round or second round in this illustrious 32 WrestleMania bracket. We got WrestleMania 17, the number one ranked in this bracket, against WrestleMania 38.
Well, I kind of feel bad, but this is one of those that, you know, it's Duke, it's the Auburns, it's just that number one seed. There's really no debate. WrestleMania 17, you've got Austin Rock in probably their best match. Triangle ladder match as well. And, I mean, what really more can you say? This is pretty much 95% of fans' favorite WrestleMania. What people would say is the greatest WrestleMania. And it was the culmination of the entire Attitude Era. A little bit of that we get with 18 as well. But this one really was the grand slam that hit it out of the park. Now, 38 did also have some good stuff. We talked about that some in the last episode as well. You've got Cody coming in. Stone Cold returns for his final match. But I really feel like the eras, 17 was kind of this like this.
It was a culmination.
Yes, that's the word I was thinking of.
Culmination of the Monday Night Wars. And if Monday Night Wars was a docu-series, Micah, then WrestleMania 17 would be the series finale.
Yeah. And meanwhile, 38 really feels like, the prelude to what we have now. There's a lot of elements of the new regime that would end up bleeding into the new regime, is what I was trying to say. But there's still the Vince stuff there. You've got another Brock Roman main event, which I didn't think was bad, but it kind of fell flat. You've also got the Johnny Knoxville match, which I know some people are partial to. That's not a praise for me. So this is a no-brainer. WrestleMania 17.
Okay, yeah, that's a solid pick. Solid pick. Next up, we got the number 8 ranked WrestleMania 40 versus the number 9 ranked WrestleMania 22.
Now this one's difficult. You've got Mickie James versus Trish Stratus. Good women's match for WrestleMania 22. Ray gets his crowning moment, beating Randy and Kurt Angle in the triple threat after lasting all that time in the Rumble as well, doing it for Eddie. Edge and Mick Foley in the hardcore match, which is one of my favorite matches of all time. One of the matches that honestly made me fall in love with wrestling. But man, WrestleMania 40 is just as hard to beat. I really think the 8 seed is too low for that. But I'm very interested to see it go up against WrestleMania 17 next week. So, you've got the Cody Roman in-game stuff. You've got the night 1 main event, the return of The Rock, teaming with his cousin Roman, and that whole build to that. You've even got the Punk Drew Seth stuff, which started off night 2. There's a lot there to love. I think 40 is top 5 all time, and I just don't feel like 22 holds up as well as 40 does. But it's still a great Mania.
Hey now, WrestleMania 22, no love to the Playboy pillow fight. Candice Michelle, Tori Wilson, 5-star classic in my house.
Well, maybe when I was 15.
Okay, all right. That's fair. Next up, Micah, we got the 29th ranked WrestleMania 12 versus the 20th ranked WrestleMania 3. So pretty historic WrestleManias here lined up next to each other.
Yeah, and 2 lower seeds that managed to make it through. WrestleMania 3 has a lot of stinkers. There's a lot of matches on there that probably shouldn't have been at Mania, and we talked about that last week.
Look at the time. Micah. I mean, LeBron was just doing an interview earlier saying that Giannis would average 250 points in the 1970s. Well, I mean, Giannis wouldn't have the same access to the medicine and the training that he has nowadays. So you can't compare eras like that, Micah. For the time, those matches at WrestleMania 3 did their job and the fans were excited. Come on. I'm not going to let you bury WrestleMania 3 like that.
Some of them, but still, it's a bloated card. We knock AEW for the bloated cards and the WrestleMania 33s that went 5 hours. Or no, longer than that, like 7.
Yeah. Counting the pre-show, like 7.
So, for that reason, I still, the last 2, it's all about the taste that's left in your mouth leaving the show. And when you've got Macho Man versus Ricky Steamboat and Hogan Andre and that absolute moment in wrestling history, I don't think 12 can live up to that, man. It's the same way. 12's a shorter card, but there's a lot of just fluff in there. You've got Triple H versus Ultimate Warrior, which was absolutely horrendous, especially with the way that Warrior ended up, leaving WWF that same year. Not necessarily to knock it, but like Stone Cold, who was one of the hotter stars at the time, had the match against Savio Vega, which is kind of fresh on my mind because I watched that Mania pretty recently. It's not a bad match at all, but it's just
they had
not
good chemistry. They had good
They
chemistry.
they did. It's just not WrestleMania worthy.
Yeah.
I feel like it's really a one match card now. The Roddy Piper Goldust match is good, deserves its flowers. It's not better than Macho Man and Ricky Steamboat to me. So for that reason, I've got to go WrestleMania 3 moves on.
Solid pick. Solid pick. Next up, Micah, we got the 5th ranked WrestleMania 30 versus the 21st ranked WrestleMania 18.
This one was tough. There's one more that was really hard for me that we'll get to in a little bit, but this was the second hardest one. I had to take some time because WrestleMania 18 has it all. You've got The Rock, you've got Hogan, Stone Cold, Scott Hall, but there's one thing that WrestleMania does not have. WrestleMania 18 does not have, and that is great match quality.
Yeah, pretty much. Except for that Hogan Rock match, I can't think of anything else that stood out on that card.
Exactly. I mean, you've got Stone Cold and Scott Hall and what was kind of an underwhelming match. Not horrible, but just there. And then, like I talked about with the last one, the taste left in your mouth was Chris Jericho versus Triple H. Not horrible, but how many stinkers has Triple H had at WrestleMania? We just talked about one.
This is going to be a beat 'em up Triple H episode, huh?
I love Triple H, one of the GOATs, but I don't know, man. Something about him and WrestleMania never clicked. Meanwhile, you look across the street at WrestleMania 30, and you got the Daniel Bryan crowning moment at the end, not to mention he had a great match with Triple H at the start of WrestleMania. You've got Cena and Bray, and I don't necessarily agree with it, but Taker losing to Brock is a huge moment in wrestling history, WrestleMania history. So, for all those reasons, I just think 30 is more iconic.
Yeah, I agree there. That's seems like a solid pick. Next up, Michael, we got the 2nd ranked WrestleMania 19 versus the 15th ranked WrestleMania 37, which WrestleMania 37 is ranked pretty high. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I think this one on paper, I really don't even think I've got to dive deep into. WrestleMania 19 has HBK versus Jericho, the triple threat tag with Los Guerreros, Rhino Benoit, Team Angle. You've got Austin Rock in Austin's final match, his real final match, and Brock versus Kurt in the main event.
Wow.
I don't even think I need to read 37's card. I don't know really how 37 made it to the second round. This is one of those cupcake teams. But yeah, man, this is one where like WrestleMania 37 loses by like 25, and you've got, the Cam Reddishes in.
Yeah, it's striking midnight for the Cinderella WrestleMania 37. Next up, Micah, we got the 7th ranked WrestleMania 20 versus the 10th ranked WrestleMania 10. And I know this should be interesting.
This one is difficult, not as difficult as the next one. However, I do think it's a weird trend here where every like decade WrestleMania, they're always great. 10, 20, 30, 40, they're all moving on. Until we get to here, because you've got 20 versus 10, and 10 definitely has its moments. You've got Shawn and Razor, Brett and Owen, plus Brett then winning the belt back at the end of the night and beating Yokozuna.
Great moment in the garden, too.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And, it's great. But, man, 20 makes you feel something. 20 pulls at your heartstrings. Even, now knowing what happens to both guys, it's just, that may even make it hurt a little more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But even then, excluding the storybook ending with Benoit and Eddie, you've still got great matches. Christian versus Chris Jericho, great match. Evolution, Rock and Sock Connection, we talked about it last week. Fun match, a little, not something that you would think on paper would just be great, but a fun match. And obviously, the triple threat for the WWE, or for the World Heavyweight Championship, Benoit, Triple H, Shawn. Eddie had a good match with, it was Kurt Angle, right?
It was, yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, I really feel like 20 takes the cake here. I don't really see as much. I think 10 has holes in it. I think 20 top to bottom is a solid card, maybe excluding one or two matches.
Yeah, maybe I would I don't know, it's tough. That is a tough one because WrestleMania 10 has two really, really great matches with Brett and Owen, and probably the greatest opening match of all time, and one of the OG ladder matches, Micah. I mean, and they stole the show with that ladder match with Razor and Shawn. And one of the moments that still gets played back to this day is Shawn doing the dive off the ladder in Madison Square Garden, which, I didn't think about it, but it's kind of ironic that both of these cards were in the Garden.
Yeah, that's what I think it's funny the way some of these ended up. 20 and 10 both in the Garden. You've got 3 and 12, which really are two kind of one match cards in terms of like the iconic main event is really what leads those WrestleManias to the second round. And that even kind of leads into our next one, because which I'll let you do the announcement or the seeding, but WrestleMania 21 and WrestleMania 14, they're so very similar. The new age was upon us with both of those, and they're capped off by guys getting a crowning, moment.
I didn't think about that, but there's a little parallel to the first matchup we had with WrestleMania 17, WrestleMania 38, because Steve Austin main event in both cards. Isn't that crazy?
That too, yeah. That was the Fetty Wap. That one's sponsored by Fetty Wap.
Okay, there you go. Dang, you threw me off, Micah. Oh, the next round, the third ranked WrestleMania 21 versus the 19th ranked WrestleMania 14. Well, what you got here, Mike?
This one was very, very difficult. And if you ask me tomorrow, I may change my answer, but I just think that WrestleMania 21 probably has the greatest card top to bottom. There is not a single miss. And the card for 14 is great as well. This is the only one that I'm going to do this, but I just want the viewers, if you're not up on your WrestleMania history, listen to this card. If you've never seen WrestleMania 21, do check it out. 21 starts with Ray versus Eddie Guerrero as the opener.
The opener. This guy.
Banger.
All right.
The inaugural Money in the Bank ladder match, Edge, Jericho, Shelton Benjamin, Chris Benoit, Christian, and Kane. Next up, you've got a streak matchup, The Undertaker defeating Legend Killer Randy Orton at the time. For the women's championship, Trish Stratus versus she defeated Christy Hemme, which, it's a short 5-minute match, but we won't hold it against it because most WrestleManias don't even have a women's match on them.
Okay.
Next up, Kurt Angle versus Shawn Michaels, which was an absolute 5-star masterpiece. Akibono versus Big Show. I don't really count that one. It went a minute. We're not counting that one.
That was a spectacle, celebrity type match. Yeah, it was. I enjoyed it as a kid.
Next, you've got John Cena defeating JBL for the WWE Championship. Good match, great moment. Batista defeated Triple H in the main event. 21 minutes, great match. Literally not a miss.
Yeah, how many Hall of Famers are on that card right there?
Oh, Jesus. The whole card's full.
But Benoit.
Yeah. And Christy Hemme, I guess.
Well, she's in TNA Hall of Fame, isn't she?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Okay. All right. There you go.
Maybe Shelton, just because maybe things didn't work out for him in WWE, but he's definitely going to be in a Hall of Fame somewhere. But that's what I'm saying. And then we just for another comparison, we'll look at WrestleMania 14 as well. You've got LOD 2000 won by eliminating the Midnight Express last, not the Midnight Express that we all remember.
Was that the Hardcore Holly Midnight Express?
Yes, Bodacious Bart and Bombastic Bob.
Oh God, yeah.
Taka Michinoku defeated, I don't want to pronounce this wrong, Agulia?
I don't know.
Okay. But after that, we've got Triple H defeated Owen Hart for the European Championship.
Taka got on the card?
Oh, yeah. Second match.
Okay.
Mark Mero and Sable defeated Goldust and Luna Vachon. The Rock defeats Ken Shamrock. You've got the dumpster match. Yeah, it was good. Cactus Jack and Chainsaw Charlie defeated the New Age Outlaws. Undertaker defeated Kane in what I think is probably their best match at WrestleMania. And you've also got Stone Cold and Shawn Michaels in the main event. So that's also a stellar card, but with a great moment because Stone Cold is crowned, and that's kind of the parallel there. But 21, man, like you said, is there a non-Hall of Famer on that card? I don't think so.
Yeah. WrestleMania 21. That it might blow out WrestleMania 14, probably. Next up, we got the 6th rank WrestleMania 31 versus the 11th rank WrestleMania 39.
31 has some good stuff on there, 100%. Elements of things turning sour were a little there because this is around the time that, to me, WWE started to go on the downslide.
Oh, yeah, we were already sliding at this point, Mike.
Yeah, well, things kind of got up in 2012 and 2013, and now we're kind of back down. But the main event triple threat, Seth, Brock, Roman, or what turned into a triple threat, the ending was great. Undertaker Bray, kind of a spectacle match, but still very good. And the IC ladder match, which Daniel Bryan ended up winning there, was also very good. You've got Seth and Randy on the undercard as well. But it's just not enough to beat out WrestleMania 39. I think that is, again, one of the greatest WrestleManias because it's top to bottom very good. The only thing really that knocks it is Roman and Cody at the end. I think that's the better match in the ring than the one they had at 40 because it was more about the spectacle and the run-ins and all that. But that match was very good up until Solo. Plus, you've got Rhea Charlotte. I was also a big fan of Dominic versus Ray. And probably, I don't know this to be true, but probably one of your favorite matches of all time, the Usos versus Sammy and KO at Night 1 main event.
Oh, yeah. And we were still in the thick of the Bloodline storyline, which I'm still a big fan of. I don't know what the state of it is now, but I think what sets 39 apart from 31, Micah, because I watched both very closely. I know you probably fell out around 2015, but WrestleMania 31, bro, the build was horrendous. The build was absolutely garbage. But the WrestleMania delivered as far as match quality wise and as far as surprises go. But I did. Let me go on record by saying Bray should have beat Taker that night, but I digress. I'm still a little salty about that. Man, WrestleMania 39 had everything you could want. They had the great matches, the great build up, and what we were asking for beforehand. And Triple H listened. We got the return of the WrestleMania goals Hollywood vignettes that I was a really big fan of.
And see, that's what's very interesting about the next round now, because there's also these parallels, because now we get 39 and 21, both of the ones that go Hollywood.
Oof.
It's going to be a tough Elite 8 to pick.
Yeah. Well, it's some good matchups there though.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. But if you want to hear us break that down, that's going to be next week on the pod. We're going to go through the Elite Eight and the Final Four. So then next week you'll know your final national championship or the greatest WrestleMania of all time matchup. Not next week, but the next week on the Scoop Slam podcast. And we've still got more hits coming. This WrestleMania season is looking to be big for us as well. So make sure you stay tuned on all of our social medias. The link will be in the description of the episode. But just know we got something cooking. We got more cooking than WWE does right now. So be on the lookout for that. But we got some wrestling to break down, Ryan.
We do.
And I'm very interested to hear your thoughts about AEW Dynamite from last week. We know this is coming out the day after this new Dynamite came out. But the real talking point here is going to be for the AEW World Championship, the street fight match between Mox and Cope. And some clips definitely did the rounds about this, and I'm sure you know what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, good old Spike. Was that the name of the weapon that Cope brought up?
Was
that Spike? Yeah. I was very surprised they used it, and I was even more surprised when Moxley got superplexed onto it.
Yeah. Before we get there, I just want to say that it was a resounding, this is the worst main event that AEW has ever had coming out of Revolution.
So what do we do to combat all that online chatter, Micah? We let them go at it again.
Yeah, with no rules now, so just even more garbage.
Rocky 3.
Rocky 3. So I don't understand the thought process to do this again. It was a funeral pace to start. I thought that they tried to do a hot start, but just nothing. I honestly think these guys don't have good chemistry. And I think Moxley is just bad right now.
Does Cope have good No, hold up now. I'm not going to let you. You're not going to give Cope a pass here. Does he have good chemistry with anybody at this point? He being Cope?
Maybe FTR.
Does he?
I don't know. I've not been wowed by a match that he's had in AEW, and people love to say that, oh, he was on this great run before he got injured.
Where? Where was this at?
You tell me, because that's what people said online. They said, oh my God, he was on this great run. He had the match with Suzuki and what's the other one that they always bring in? I can't remember his name.
No.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
They said he had great matches with them. I'm sorry. Ishii, thank you. I have yet to see a great match in AEW that Ishii or Suzuki has had.
Maybe he had him in Mexico. Maybe Cope had. Maybe he was tag partners with El Americano.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
You know, he's probably under a mask somewhere. Are they both from the Gulf of America?
They could be. What? Well, didn't Edge used to wrestle under a mask for a little bit?
Oh, he was. Yeah, he was the Conquistador. Yeah, that's good.
The Conquistador. There we go. See.
Okay. All right. See,
indeed. So, anyways, I wish I had a mask to stop me from seeing this match. Moxley is just so lame, dude. There was one moment where they were both on the ground, I think after a superplex, not the one onto the, or that was just a suplex, my bad. This was a superplex. They both, got up, and Moxley did this stupid, and he always does it, dude. He does this, thing where he rolls his neck around, and he just gets in the guy's face, and then they started doing punches. So he was selling this superplex, and then they started doing these punches, and he just immediately stands up so they can do these punches. Bro, I don't know. He sucks. And if it wasn't for him and Tony Storm being in the same promotion, I really, they might be world champions, but what they're really racing for right now is worst wrestler this year.
Oh man,
because I don't know who I would rather not see on my TV. Tony's at least good in the ring, I guess.
I will say this first because I always got to preface this. I loved Ambrose in the Shield, and I loved his work outside the Shield. However, he had a couple times in his match, bro, where he just got up and did not sell anything. Like he got hit with a pile driver by Dax, and Micah, he popped right back up like it never happened. I don't know if Dax like legit pissed him off or something, but he just did not sell the pile driver.
I remember what you're talking about. I don't see how people can defend it anymore. I think people are finally waking up and realizing it, but I mean, Jesus, what do you have to do to kill the man? Or not kill him, but to pin him.
Come on now. Well, I mean, they tried to kill him in this match.
I was about to say.
Bro, he could have. Can't you puncture your lung by doing something like that, Micah?
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, you can fall on your side hard enough and break a rib and puncture your lung. Imagine if he just rotated a little bit on his side. Imagine, crazy thought here, if one of those spikes hit his freaking vertebrae, and now what? Oh, now we can't lift him up to get these stupid spikes out of his back because he's paralyzed. Like, there's just no sense in it, and it was disgusting. Like, and I like hardcore wrestling. I said earlier, one of my favorite matches, Edge and Mick Foley, WrestleMania 22, but this right here is a whole nother can of worms compared to that.
Yeah, I saw some arguments going around online where people were saying, "Oh, you don't like violence in wrestling? Grow up. Like you can't handle violence." Like, bro, there's a difference between, somebody getting hit with a steel chair and somebody almost getting impaled by a spike. I don't know. Can we draw the line somewhere? I used to love a lot of hardcore stuff when I was younger. A lot of CZW stuff. I loved ECW. I used to have the best of ECW DVD. Man, I watched a lot of violent stuff when I was a kid, but now as an adult, man, I just don't want to see this on a weekly basis. Can we do this here and there? Why does it have to be weekly, Micah?
I don't know. I mean, literally, we just got the Tony Storm Mariah May thing like 2 weeks ago.
Do people enjoy watching the torture porn? Is that AEW's audience here?
Well, I told you it was the same people that like Terrifier, but you shunned me for that opinion.
I did like the first Terrifier. I've not watched the second one, but I did like the first one. I hear Chris Jericho's in second and third one.
Oh boy, that's appointment viewing right there. That just sold me on it.
I was hoping he was gonna, do us a favor by taking him out in the third one, but nah, he's still here.
So, I don't know. Again, like, you remember, Abyss in TNA, he had, like, the barbed wire.
Janice?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. The barbed wire doesn't get, like, jammed up in people's back to where they pull the skin 6 inches off their back because they can't get the spikes out. And then, like, that was the worst part about it, them trying to get it out. And, for instance, literally, all they would have had to do, he hit him in the stomach with it, he smacked him in the back with it. I wouldn't do that, but sure. If he went to do the suplex and then reversed it and kicked it out of the ring, there literally would not have been a word said about it. But they have to push the envelope to an absolute extreme for no reason.
And they basically had a Bloodline Rules match here, Mike. You see all these run-ins?
Yeah.
Wheeler Yuta being a jabroni, he got powerbombed as soon as he ran in. Copeland's been having this match for 30 minutes, and then Wheeler Yuta runs in and then immediately gets powerbombed. Like, that
Pop-up powerbomb.
That should immediately tell you what they think about Wheeler Yuta. And then
he almost died.
Well, anyway, Dax and Cash finally reappear. I don't know where they've been, but they finally reappear. and they teased the breakup with Cope, Cope and FTR. Is that what I saw there at the end there, Micah?
Oh, I didn't. I ain't gonna lie.
You didn't catch the end. Come
Nah,
on.
I skipped right. I
Okay.
really got to start watching the end of these things, and I thought that too when I skipped. I was like, man, I better see if something happens, and then I was like,
Something did, yeah.
nothing will happen that I like with this Moxley crap, so I turned it off.
Well, at the end, well, of course, Mox chokes out Cope because, that jitsu. But FTR comes out, tries to even the playing field. They succeed for a little while, but then, like I just said, Mox chokes out Cope. FTR goes to help up Cope at the end of the match. It was Cash, the one that tries to help up Cope. And Cope extends his hand to Dax, and Dax does not shake it and just walks out the ring. And it looks like Cash is trying to, talk him out of it while they're going up the ramp arguing. So I don't know if they're teasing to something here with Dax and Cope. What do you think about FTR teaming or FTR versus Christian Edge at the next the All In or Double or Nothing? What's the next pay-per-view they have?
It'll be Dynasty, but that's pretty soon,
Nah, that's
so I
2
don't
weeks away.
know.
What about the one they got? Is that All In Texas? What do you think about
Is
them?
that really 2 weeks away?
Yeah, it's April 11th, 12th, something like that.
Jesus, it felt like we just had Revolution.
I know it feels like we had 3 AEW pay-per-views before since Elimination Chamber. But what do you think about them building up to a FTR versus Christian and Cope tag match?
I think that could actually be really good. I loved FTR. I want to love FTR, but I don't know if it's the booking. I don't know if it's them. When they got the world titles that last time, it just didn't feel the same. Their ring work to me was a little sloppier than it was before. I didn't find myself as interested in them. However, I think the best spot for Edge or Cope at this point in time is tag team division. I'm sorry, I don't want to see the world title on him. I really thought they were going to put it on him in this match because who is still clamoring to see Moxley with that AEW World Championship?
I don't know, man. And then when the finish happened, people did the groan that they did in LA for the last pay-per-view.
Oh,
So
100%. There was no reaction. Like, it's just, and I think his music don't help, but it's just this like, wow, and then like you just never hear anybody care.
just the depression sets in. Yeah.
And I hate to be this way because there's exceptions to the rule, obviously, but I feel like a lot of times in wrestling, you're only as hot as your main event program. Obviously, there's exceptions to the rule, but like with WWE, they had Roman and Cody, and that was just this giant, like, people were all over that. We talked about earlier, Austin Rock, that's your main event program. Hogan Andre, even, to go all the way back then. But with AEW, right now, it's like, sure, I really enjoy Swerve's work. I do, at least. I know you don't.
No way. Yeah.
The Hurt Business is really good right now.
Yeah.
I think Kenny Omega is more over to me right now than he has been in the past. And then at the end of the shows, I gotta watch Jon Moxley have this boring match or try and kill himself on live TV. And it leaves this sour taste in my mouth, and I don't want to see that anymore. Who wants to see that anymore?
It doesn't even feel like they're building up to Swerve beating Moxley at this point. I feel like they're still all full steam ahead with Darby taking the title off Moxley. Because they mentioned Darby again in a backstage promo in the show. I don't know if you saw that.
Nah, I didn't see it, but well, isn't he like going up Everest this summer? Like, when is his timetable to be back?
Is he
Sometimes you
climbing it
got to
now?
pivot.
Is he climbing it now? I thought he was already climbing.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't
How long does
think
it
he
take?
was.
Does it take months?
Uh, well, I guess with the training and everything, I'm not 100% sure, but I think it at least takes a couple weeks.
I just don't think that Swerve is. It just doesn't feel like they're building him up to be that guy to beat Moxley. I mean, anything at this point would help. I mean, I wouldn't mind if the popcorn vendor rolled up Moxley at this point, but I don't know, man. It's just nothing to get excited for as far as the main event scene goes in AEW. As long as they got Moxley just killing the main event scene like he's doing.
Well, not to mention, the run-ins, like you said. I didn't really say a whole lot on that, but Kip and Nick Wayne and all them getting involved, I thought was a little too much.
No Christian though.
No Christian. So we'll see. I think the best spot for them right now would be to pivot from this. They need to get that belt off Moxley. I think Swerve would be the right choice. He's hotter than most of the guys right now in AEW in terms of momentum. Point in waiting on Darby all this time. It's and listen, I really like Darby Allin. I have been a fan. I've sung his praises on this show. I don't know that I buy Darby Allin as a world champion long term. So if it's just going to be this one and done moment, he loses the belt in 2 months. I don't see a reason for keeping people pissed off at your main event program.
Yeah, but I agree. But I mean, they're so far in at this point. They might as well just see it through. You know?
I guess. I mean, I don't know. Sometimes you got to pivot.
Yeah, pivot should have happened months ago.
You got me there. We move on to Friday Night SmackDown, which really 2-segment show, which it's been. There's only like 1 or 2 things to really check out. Again, what in God's name is this WrestleMania build? And we'll get to that with some of these segments. To start us off, the eventual WWE Women's Championship match is going to be,
oh boy,
Charlotte Flair versus Tiffany Stratton, and they had a via satellite segment here.
the Daniel Cormier, John Jones sit down type segment, huh?
Yeah.
Did you see that report from Fightful about this segment? Did you see that?
I did not.
Okay, so this came a couple days ago from Fightful Select. It reads, WWE officials felt Tiffany was put in a tough situation where she had to prove herself on SmackDown. It was noted that Charlotte knew what Stratton would say and had prepared strong responses. Many backstage thought Charlotte looked like the bigger star, while Tiffy simply did not. Your thoughts, Micah?
I think the best comparison here is going to be that Cena Theory promo that we always bring up, and it's going to come up today again, but
it's crazy that people were so quick to defend Tiffany here. But when we brought up how Cena tried a big league theory and made Roman look like a fool on the mic, people thought that was hilarious and so great what Cena did. But when Charlotte does it to Tiffy, that's not okay. Is that a double standard, Micah? Am I just making stuff up here? That happened, right?
Makes me think of that post that you sent me. I just saw it again because I was going through my camera roll about the people talking about it was Ricky's fault for going off script on Edge, and somebody said, yeah, it's the old timers. They're going to do that. They're going to cut open the new guy whenever he goes off script. And someone was like, oh, kind of like that guy from Chicago cut open that cowboy when he went off script. So that's okay now?
Yeah. Double standard, bro.
For lack of better terms, she cut Tiffany's nuts off. Like, there was no
She did, but in that Fightful Select article that I brought up, I don't know if they were trying to imply that Charlotte knew what Tiffany was gonna say, and Tiffany didn't know what Charlotte was gonna say, which I'm not. I don't believe that. I believe everybody saw what each other was gonna say, or at least they let Tiffany have the same leeway as Charlotte did. So Tiffany could have had her own response, but I feel like she had a prepared statement that she was gonna stick to, and once Charlotte responded to her, she just had nothing to say. Like Tiffany brought up that she was the biggest star on in the WWE, and Charlotte said, honey, you're not even the biggest star on SmackDown." And Tiffany didn't even have anything to say about that. Or when she said, when Tiffany said that she is the champion for a reason, and Charlotte just replied back, "Be a cash in, be a cash in." And
Yeah.
Tiffany didn't even say anything back, bro. Like, what the heck? She got exposed, and I've been saying it for months here, and people have been looking at me like I'm crazy. Tiffany has not evolved as a character and as a promo since she's been in NXT, bro. And I'm tired of pretending like she's some great up and coming superstar when she's just a one dimensional mean girl character, and she can't really cut it as a babyface. And Charlotte exposed that. And you know what? I hope Charlotte beats her at WrestleMania.
I would not be surprised if she does at all.
I hope she does, yeah.
I think to make another UFC reference, it kind of reminded me of how Conor McGregor used to get some of the fighters at them press conferences. Like Conor was so all over them with how witty he was that they literally couldn't do anything. They just had to sit there and take it.
And just smile awkwardly because they didn't have anything to say. They were so out of their element. Yeah, that's a good comparison.
And it didn't even matter exactly what happened in the fight. People share the clips. I remember the one with Jeremy Stevens, when Jeremy Stevens said something and Conor was like, "Who the is that guy?" Like, those two aren't even fighting. But that's like, I guarantee you, most people, that's what they know Jeremy Stevens from, is that clip of Conor. So it was kind of that, where it was like Tiffany just didn't say anything, and Hannah was watching this with me, and she was like, "Why do all of them sound so prepared?" And I was like, "I don't know." And then she was like, "Well, Charlotte sounds a little less prepared." And I was like, "Well, I wonder why."
Yeah, I'm doing a complete 180 on Charlotte here, man. I know a lot of people hate Charlotte for weird reasons online, but I don't know, man. Since she's gotten back, I feel like her promos haven't been. I feel like they've been pretty okay, pretty good. While looking at the other women on these shows, I don't know, man. It's maybe appreciate Charlotte a lot more, this whole build.
She's not a sight for sore eyes anymore, I would say, with the.
Yeah, see, that gets brought up a lot online when she's cutting promos or wrestling in matches. Like, bro, talk about the match, man. What are y'all doing? Like, quit being weird online.
I know, but at the same time, it's hard. Like, she almost can't show some emotion because she's got so much to. No, I'm genuinely not even like trying to like tear this woman down. I'm just being honest. Like, she has got a lot of work done. So sometimes in her promos, I am kind of like, ugh. But you know, it really don't matter if she can win me over on the mic. It don't matter what you look like or who you are or whatever. Tiffany just didn't cut it, and that's a lot of the problem with the women's division. And I think, like you said, Charlotte is really exposing that, because a lot of those NXT girls that come up as well, they don't know anything that's not on a script. So the minute you deviate, now they're caught with their foot in their mouth.
Yeah. And bro, I know I'm gonna get a lot of heat online by saying this, but when people say, "Oh my God, Stephanie back here, she's just gonna change the game when she comes up to the main roster. Like, she's a generational superstar." Okay, bro, get your hand off your crotch, man. Let's talk actual pro wrestling here. Can she cut a promo? She's okay, I guess, but No, she's not generational, man. She looks good, yeah. She looks good. She has the gimmicks. I understand. I'm with Booker T when she does that move on Wednesday nights. I'm all there with them. But I come on, man. Let's cool it with these outrageous women's takes, man.
I don't know. I kind of I disagree with you a little bit on that. I think she is very, very good in the ring. And
Okay.
again, I understand the promo thing. However, on Raw, the fans do love Io Sky.
But Mike, are you interested in Io Sky's feuds? Is what I'm saying. I can understand that she has good matches, but are you interested in anything she has ever said on the microphone?
Well,
That's
you got me
wrestling,
there.
though. But that's wrestling. Wrestling isn't about how many moves you can hit and how good you are in the ring. I don't care how many flips you can do. I don't care how many times you can make the crowd go, ooh. Can you make me care about your feud, man? Can you make me want to buy a ticket? That's what it's all about, bro. It's never been about the moves. And I know we're going a little long-winded on this nothing backstage via satellite promo, but I got a little heated up online reading takes.
Well, and it kind of goes. I mean, there's a lot to really nitpick about this WrestleMania feud, and this is one of the not this WrestleMania feud, the WrestleMania build as a whole. I think that's why Bianca is so great, and she gets a lot of hate sometimes, but she is great in the ring, and she also makes you care about the feuds because she's a very genuine person on the mic to me.
Yeah.
And as much as I love and have sung the praises of Rhea Ripley, she is
Ooh.
starting to feel very stale
Uh-oh.
to me.
Be careful now.
I mean, listen, she is still probably the greatest women's wrestler in the company, probably on the face of this earth right now. But
Yeah,
I
I
don't
get
know,
it.
man. Something with her promo
It's
style, cadence, gimmick, it just needs something changing.
very repetitive, and she's kind of getting exposed right now because Dominic's not there to, be the focal point of her interviews and all her promos. So I don't know, man. All this mommy's always on top stuff. The fans love it because the fans, they love to channel along to what you're gonna say and your catchphrases. But I don't know. I feel like a lot more people are starting to wake up to the idea that Rhea Ripley is kind of, I don't know, she's one dimensional right now.
Yeah, which same thing we're saying about Tiffany. Uh, But we got one more thing to talk about on SmackDown, then a little bit of Raw. You also had the segment between Punk and Roman and Seth, and I have to admit, Ryan, we ain't got to spend a long time on this. I think this is my least favorite Punk segment since he's came back.
It was very weird. Very weird.
It
They kept on building up for weeks that all three guys are gonna be in the ring at the same time on this SmackDown. And then when we got it, Micah, it's they didn't really say much before they just started brawling.
that and even then, it's like the brawl to me was just so stupid. They all like almost comically got to a spot and pointed to the WrestleMania sign. Like,
Yeah,
dude, come
yeah.
on.
Even before that, Roman was mad at Punk. He said in the promo because Punk eliminated him from the Royal Rumble. Like, bro, I know we get views like that all the time going into Mania. Oh, you eliminated me from the Rumble, so now I must fight you at WrestleMania. But I don't think Roman and Punk need that stupid reason. They have so much history going back 13 years with the beginning of the Shield, and they could have played off the real life animosity, the shots that Roman took to Punk when he was away. They could have, man, this could have been all time generational type promo exchange between Roman and Punk. And I can understand with not giving away stuff all in one night. But bro, this is WrestleMania. Can you give us something to hang on to at the end of a SmackDown? And another
Yes,
thing,
that's
one more thing, Micah, and I'll let you go. Does Triple H Is that all he knows how to book? Is the pull apart brawl? How many pull apart brawls do we have every single show?
That is true. We might have to start keeping account.
Have you noticed that? Like it's almost weekly at this point on every show.
Yeah, and I mean, it don't bother me sometimes because of who's involved in it, but we need a little something else. Like, and I get they're trying to sprinkle in like contract signings and all that as well, but hey, man, have the guy have a meet and fight in the backstage area, even. But like a lot of the promo segments end in backstage brawls, except for Cena's, and we'll get to the stupid way that they've been building that.
Yeah, it just made no sense to me. And I think the biggest misjustice of this whole entire WrestleMania season, WrestleMania build, the biggest guy that got screwed over is Drew McIntyre here, bro. Like you got Drew on these shows. He's feuding with Priest, which I know they have history, but Drew has such a great 2024, bro. Like it really should have been Drew versus Roman for this WrestleMania.
Yeah, I would have been
They have so
100%
much
more
history.
down with that.
They have so much history. They have more history with than Priest than McIntyre do.
And Drew
And
could have got his win back.
could have got his win back. Yeah, there you go.
I just don't.
They could have had some entertaining segments together too.
Yeah, because Drew has advanced so much on the mic and he's just so compelling as a character, and he can really kind of he can do what he's been doing, which is exposing the fact that Roman isn't really this good guy, and they were building to that kind of all year. So to now throw Punk in it feels so thrown together. But like you said, dude, if they had a 25-minute promo segment going back and forth on each other, just one a piece, everybody's getting their little comments in, dude, that could have been all time. Like, that's a hook for Mania.
Hey,
we are less than.
Hey, we couldn't have a 25-minute back and forth. We need all those entrances and all those commercials, pal. Couldn't have that.
Yeah, we had to have the stupid 15-minute brawl so everybody can point at the WrestleMania sign, even though all that could have been said with words. Like, I don't know, man. I'm very perplexed by this WrestleMania build. We're less than a month away now, and I literally cannot think of anything that has excited me except for the initial turn of Cena. And even the Gunther J stuff, which, I mean, we can pivot to Raw as well. It's lackluster. We talked about it last week. They got him messing with jobbers, and they still did it this week.
Hold up now. Big Jim ain't no jobber, buddy.
I'm not talking about Big Jim. I'm talking about freaking Alpha Academy and even A-Town Down Under.
Hey, we like Theory.
I mean, I like Theory. I got a little comparison for you, but...
Oh, man.
Anyways, let's move to Raw. The segment on SmackDown was bad, and SmackDown as a whole is bad right now, which, again, how many times I gotta say it? It's WrestleMania.
Well, pause. The fact that SmackDown doesn't have any world champions on this show, that is like, what are we doing here, bro? Like, we're having the WWE champion on Raw every single week, and the WWE champion never on SmackDown going to WrestleMania. Is that what we're getting?
Not to mention, isn't that kind of the whole reason of having 2 world titles so that you can have one on each brand?
Yeah, man, ever since Elimination Chamber, man, Cody's just been on Raw.
That Netflix deal is too sweet.
Okay, all right.
Speaking of Cody, we got another John Cena segment, which I don't know. I think we're getting another segment next week, and then he's not advertised for anything except for the week before Mania. So
yeah,
that's nice.
I was gonna bring that up. Bro, just let's talk about the Cena promo first.
So, am I wrong to say that the further they get into this, the more that he just shouldn't have turned heel? I think the moment was great.
Yeah.
But this entire thing feels too late. It was 10 years ago. He brought up when the fans didn't like the belt in 2005. They've got a new design now. He's like, I'm going to ruin wrestling.
Hey, now hold up. He get some heel heat in my house if he brought back that spinner belt.
Listen, I think a lot of people like the spinner belt. It's not exactly my favorite thing in the world, but like most of the people that we, or at least I see online, think the spinner belt is the greatest design ever because it's what they grew up with.
I was just about to say that. I think it's a generation of fans that liked it, but they were kids. But
Yeah, I mean,
I hated that. Like, it just looked so off, especially when guys like Randy had it. That just didn't look right.
I'll tell you who it did work for, weirdly enough, Punk.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I don't hate that. But Triple H having that and Randy Orton, that just didn't look right.
Yeah, Triple H felt weird. Miz
RVD.
somehow felt right.
RVD just didn't look right.
I actually did like it on RVD. Kind of fit.
Michael, we're getting on a tangent here. I'm
Anyways.
Are we having a match with John Cena at WrestleMania? Or is Cody Rhodes having a match with John Cena? Because he hasn't addressed Cody Rhodes one bit. He's only been addressing the fans. Like, what's going on here?
Or The Rock. You always
The
tell me
Rock.
that every week. He has yet to mention The Rock.
Yeah. Nothing about The Rock. Everything to do with the fans. Has not addressed Cody Rhodes. Barely looks at Cody Rhodes. Just Cody Rhodes comes out. Does not put foots in Cena. Which, by the way, Cena did leave him bloody. Beat him within an inch of his life at Elimination Chamber in front of everybody. Yet he is not mad enough to put foots in Cena, and Cena just does not want to acknowledge Cody's existence. And we getting one more segment between them before Mania. At least that's what's advertised. Bro, let me ask you something, Micah. What the heck happened to backstage pre-tape segments? Do we not have that anymore? Why couldn't we? I know Rock can't be on these shows every week. I know Cena can't be on these shows every week. But why can't we get them all in one and film something to sprinkle in these shows every single week?
Or, because I was thinking about this, when we've been talking about all these WrestleManias, the build to Cena Rock, half that was on those stupid via satellite vignette. Like, why can't we do something like that? Oh, I'm John Cena live on the set from da-da-da. I didn't feel that you fans should be worthy enough of my presence because you haven't valued my presence for the last 10 years. That is so easy to use. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or at least, because you had the hottest angle coming out of Elimination Chamber that you've had in a long time. And what you do to capitalize on it is have Cena take 2 weeks off and have him only cut promos on the fans, not mention Rock. Like, can you imagine, Micah, if Hogan would have turned heel in '96 like he did and be revealed as the third man, and then him not showing up to Nitro for 3 weeks, and then him not acknowledging Nash and Hall on the microphone? Can you imagine something like that happening?
Well, hold on now. I do feel like I remember him missing time after the turn.
But did he show back up and not acknowledge Nash and Hall, though?
No, 100% not. That was the first people he came out with.
Exactly. Like, what are we doing? Film some backstage segments, bro. They're all there one night, I'm sure. Can we film some backstage segments? We're doing live television every week. And it is terrible for the fan, the viewers at home, that we do not get to see these guys that we're emotionally invested in going into the biggest show of the year. We need guys like Rock around, man. I mean, if you can't be there, film some segments, man. It takes what they can hammer that out in 3-4 hours, can't they?
I would think. And that's the build as a whole. Raw, on this episode, we got the promo with Punk, but Seth wasn't there. Roman isn't there. Why have and we have given Roman a lot of slack on this show in the past about his schedule, and I get it. It's fine if he doesn't want to be there all the time. But, dude, if you give a guy 20 dates throughout the year, 10 or at least, 8 of them need to be during Mania season.
Yeah. You said we give him a lot of slack. I don't think we giving him enough heat right here for his lack of being there during WrestleMania, bro. He's showing up less than last year.
And that was something that we said last year, too. Cody was having to put in all the legwork on this Mania build. And he's going to have to do the same freaking thing against Cena, evidently. And it's not, why? Okay, if they did what they did last week, that was fine. Why did they just do that again? They should have had something happen between these two to get me hooked.
Bro, I swear, when Cena dropped the mic and walked out the ring, I was like, surely this can't be it. And yeah, it was it. That was it. Cena walked out. It was a copy and paste of what happened last week. And it was a good heel promo. He cut to the fans, but still, you have to acknowledge the guy you are feuding with. Do you think they're protecting Cody from Cena on the mic? You think that's what this is?
Maybe, but I don't know, because I think Cody's been able to hold his own in certain situations. I don't know what it is. It doesn't. Why would you not acknowledge the guy that you're going to fight in a month? It doesn't make sense.
And can we get some clarification of why Cena chose to sell his soul to The Rock? I mean,
and I know everybody online is gonna be like, "Oh, you guys are just y'all can't wait, bro. Triple H, just let Triple H cook."
How long he gonna cook for, man?
I don't know. I'm like we said last week. Yeah, my ribs are showing
since Saturday night's main event, bro. And then people vilify us online when we say stuff like, "Oh my gosh, man, Saturday night's main event was kind of like it was anticlimactic, nothing happened." And people, "Oh, maybe you just wait. They're saving it all for the Raw Netflix." And then guys like us, okay, we'll wait. And then Raw Netflix happens, and it was a very safe show. And then people online would say, "Oh man, you just have to wait till the Rumble." And then we get to the Rumble, and then it's like, okay, yeah, the Rumble's good, but all right, WrestleMania's here. Let's kick it up. And then we get to Chamber, and the same thing happens, and then something big happens, and then you're like, okay, all right, let's go. I'm locked in. My seatbelt's on. I'm ready for the ride. And then we're in the car, Micah, and we're stopped at the gas station 3 or 4 times before we hit the open road. Like, can we get going? Can we get on the highway? Where are we going?
I don't know. Dad's been in the bathroom for 3 hours.
I'm ready to get out.
I need to stretch my legs.
Yeah, I'm out of here. I'm tired of waiting. Triple H need to get out the car, man, if he can't book WrestleMania season. Like, this is supposed to be a layup. And if we are not feeling WrestleMania season, which seems to be it seems to be the sentiment online that people are not feeling this WrestleMania build. If Triple H can't make us excited for WrestleMania, we're in for a tough year, Micah.
Yeah.
This supposed to be the peak right here. It's supposed to be the best television they do all year. Are we waiting for it? What are we waiting for? SummerSlam?
We're waiting for Saturday Night Submit in August.
Oh God. Okay.
It's bad. Like, as people who make content during this time of the year, usually this is like the time of the year that, like, I'm ready to get my opinions out. I'm ready to talk about this and watch the shows and break this down. And I am grasping at straws every week with you to try and come up with something to watch or to talk about. There's nothing happening.
There's so many entrances, so many commercials. The fans love to sing along. They have a lot of sing alongs. But as far as substance between the ropes, in the ring, actual storytelling, actual storyline that you're interested in is very minimum at this point, bro. And it's very concerning because, you look back at the Attitude Era and when did it start, Micah? WrestleMania 14, 1998, that's when the Austin era begun. WrestleMania 17, it was pretty much over when Steve Austin shook hands with Vince McMahon. So it ended 3 years. We had that great peak. The Triple H era started in WrestleMania. What would you say, WrestleMania 39, Micah?
Yeah, I would say, because I think that was the last, like, somewhat Vince book show.
We're going into WrestleMania 41. 3 WrestleManias. So maybe history's repeating itself. I don't know. Time will tell. But if Triple H is going to be, if this era is going to be named after Triple H, which I think so a lot of people calling it the Paul Levesque era, the Triple H era, then he has to take this blame, bro, for this lackluster build to WrestleMania.
And this is the last thing I'm going to say on this. We literally, like, I put that TikTok up about this months ago, and everybody again was like you said, bro, just let Triple H cook, bro. It's too early. The layup, literally, Rock versus Roman, Cena versus Gunther, Cody versus Punk. Like, that is such an easy card to make. If Roman couldn't work with Rock, do Drew and Roman, and you've still got a great 3-match card. Not to mention whatever you've got Jay doing, whatever you've got Seth doing. Like, there's so many other avenues to go in, but that was right there. And instead, as much as I love the Cena turn, if this was what you were going to do with it, keep him babyface and make him go against Gunther. It would have been 10 times better, because nobody cares about Jay anymore.
Come on now. Settle down now. I was nodding my head in improvement throughout this whole thing, and then you just hit me with, come on now.
Nobody cares about that feud anymore going into WrestleMania. It has died down tremendously.
Okay. All right, let's get into that real quick. Yeah, I actually think that they did a good job heating up the Jay Gunther feud on that Raw by having Big Jim getting involved. Gave him that pep talk backstage, Micah. And then Big Jim and Jay, they reunited for one night in a pretty good tag match with A-Town Down Under. I know you don't like Jay feuding with the undercard guys like A-Town Down Under, but Big Jim and Jay together, the Usos, the greatest tag team of all time. It was really good to see. And the promo that Jimmy cut on Jay afterwards, trying to hype him up for his match. Trying to cheer him up after he did that little slip up, which WWE is turning that into an angle, which is I don't know if you're a fan of that, but I thought it was good storytelling on their part to steer into that Jay making mistakes, getting in his head type angle by having him slip up and Gunther taking advantage. Big Jim cuts that promo on Jay backstage, and then Big Jim goes and finds Gunther, which he wasn't hard to find. He was lurking behind the corner for some reason, and just slapped the taste out of his mouth and walks away. And Gunther is going to murder Big Jim next week, and it is going to be great because that is what this feud needed. Something. This feud needed something. It was dying on the vine, right, for the last couple weeks, and it needed something for this build. And I enjoyed what they did on Monday with Big Jim and Jay and Gunther.
I will agree with you there. This heated it up more than it has in the past. I was more talking about the weeks previous. However, I think seeing the Usos in the ring again
here we go.
Just made me want the Usos and not
they were good in there, weren't they?
Separation. That was a good tag match for two guys that haven't teamed in a while, and A-Town Down Under, who's a pretty, undercard team. It kind of just made me want to see the Usos again. So I don't know. And Big Jim, please get some new gear, man. That
he does
thing is ugly.
Does it look like he's performing in Circus Dole?
Yeah, he looks like a chip bag.
Oh, come on now. Not chip bag. Did you like Big Jim firing up Jay in the backstage?
I did. I think he actually is probably a better promo out of the two. He just
Stop it. Come on now. Stop.
Jay is actually very underrated. Like I know not Jay. Jimmy is actually very underrated.
Yeah.
I think he could also be in the same spot that Jay's in. Jay just kind of happened to be the right guy at the right time.
Well, Jay also isn't as reckless as Big Jim because Jay doesn't have. He does have a couple DUIs, but he doesn't have as many as Jimmy does. And Jay
What's
always has
two
a
when you
better.
got four?
There you go. And Jay does have a better physique than Big Jim does, and Jay has stayed more healthy, which in certain that one of the best abilities in wrestling, Micah, is availability, and Jay's been available more throughout this entire run. But you think they're building up to like one more backstage segment where Roman tries to fire up Jay and tell him that he can do it because he's full on doubting himself right now, Micah.
Maybe it'll probably be like the Raw before Mania, when they have
No,
the Avengers.
they need what they need Rock. Rock should fire up Jay, and then Jay just said, you know what, Rock, it's not my year, buddy, and he just steps aside and the final boss faces Gunther and I would love that actually. Let's do
I'm
that.
about to say I think that was booked just for you.
All right, you know what, I'm locked in. Final boss beats Gunther.
Oh, 100%. He's got to
All
go
right,
over.
and he inserts himself into the Cena Cody match too.
Yep. Undisputed
Unified
champion
title.
final boss. And then he kicks Triple H out of the Booker spot.
Hey, now that shouldn't be so bad. Actually, I don't know. We'll see how he sticks the landing in WrestleMania. But
Takeover angle.
doesn't he have the UFL? Isn't he got a stake in that now?
Yeah,
Is
I think so.
that what it's called? The UFL?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I know they're starting back up, and he was the owner of the XFL, which they merged with
The USFL.
Yeah, and that was that weird time during COVID. So I don't know how much responsibility he has with that league now, but they're starting up soon, so he's probably gonna be spread pretty thin coming out of WrestleMania and going into WrestleMania.
Well, we really got one last thing to talk about, which was the Punk promo. We don't have to spend a whole lot of time on it just because we kind of picked apart everything else. And I wouldn't necessarily say that there was a lot of substance here. I thought he had some good lines. Obviously, the one where...
But there's only so much you can do if you got nobody else there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I feel like the biggest caveat is what we said about the thing on SmackDown. It was here, but it wasn't exactly what we wanted, and it's not exactly what I think is worthy of my time right before WrestleMania.
You know what? I know Paul Heyman was there, bro. So how hard is it, Paul Heyman, to come out there and speak on behalf of Roman Reigns?
I would have loved that. They would have had a great 10 to 15 minute promo, and it would have been classic.
Yeah. I've been seeing a lot of stuff floating online saying that Heyman's going to turn on Roman and Punk and align himself for Rollins. Would you like that?
No.
I would, yeah.
No.
Turn it down.
I was with you until you said Rollins, and I was like, okay.
All right, fair point.
If he went with like Braun, okay, maybe.
Yeah.
But
Oberfamby?
Oh God. Don't get me over here salivating and
fantasizing.
Yeah, fantasizing. I couldn't think of the other word. Oh my goodness.
Man.
Yeah, then I'd have to look at Roman like we did, like Colin Coward did to Ben Simmons, Hey Roman.
We're good.
Stay home. We're good.
We got Oben now.
Yeah.
Do you think this match needs some stakes behind it, bro? Because it's just a plain triple threat match right now. Like a number one contenders match. I think that's what it needs. This triple threat match coming up Punk, Roman, and Seth. It needs some stakes.
It would make it a lot more interesting, but for what pay-per-view would it lead to? Backlash?
Backlash would be tough because I believe it's in St. Louis, and I would be willing to bet my house that Randy Orton is going to face Cena in a title match on that show. So maybe you have the winner face the Raw champion. But
I
then
wouldn't
that probably
hate
Jay.
that. But
That
yeah,
would be
but
Jay
if
though. So I don't know.
and listen.
I don't want to see.
If you'd asked me a Roman and Jay like 2 years ago, sure. Now,
Oh, Seth and Jay, huh?
oh
That'd be
God, no. There's not a good matchup there.
they've been building because Punk did mention on the mic on Raw that there's still something in the contract that he needs to look at. So maybe it is a number one contendership stake. If it is, do you think we finally get that main event WrestleMania for CM Punk?
Are you saying that this should main event?
Yeah, night one main event. I think it could be. It got the star power.
Yeah,
And if
I don't.
got some stakes to it, why not?
The only thing I see would be them going with Jay last because it would be a good feeling if they are going to take the belt off Cody. But I have a feeling that if this main event's night one, then Cena is going to lose in night two.
Which now, actually, seeing his promos for the last couple weeks, I can see Cena losing.
Yeah. And see,
I can see it.
that's what's stupid to me, because if he loses, then the turn was for nothing. And at this point, I don't even think I really want him to be heel anymore, because it just doesn't. I don't know. We'll get out of here because we just need to see what happens, I guess. But bro, it's time. So we got one more week, Triple H.
In London.
But we gonna be back next week, and if you ain't got things fixed, if I'm not interested in this John Cena Cody Rhodes feud, I don't know. We riot.
All right.
But anyways, thank you guys for listening to the Scoop Slam podcast. We will be back next week, as I said. Make sure you check out links in the bio. I'll post the updated WrestleMania bracket. I will post the eventual news of whatever big we've got coming up soon. So make sure you stay tuned. Instagram, Twitter, all that good stuff. Thank you guys for listening. Take care of yourself over the weekend and have a good one.